Besides sending the police, you might want to send an ambulance or a hearse.
Hello, Billy Ho, coming at you. Week 15 DraftKings main slate. First look video. Shout out to the Discord, Billy Ho's Flophouse. Grinding hard, man. We almost got there. Missing that Evan Ingram like everybody else was. I was if you watch my matchups video, I thought it was really one of my sharpest ones I've done. I put a lot of work into it. I was pretty proud of it. I had all my stacks were on point, except for Ingram. I had all my Lawrence stacks were Kirk. I did very little Kirk. I had mostly Zay Jones because, as I pointed out in my video, Kristen Fulton for Tennessee was out, and Zay Jones had been on lockdown the week before. But this week it was more open season, so they were throwing more. And just Ingram ended up getting kind of like Kirk's action because they must have just kind of keyed more in on him. And plus, I was so high on the Okonkwo Forever, who did come through with a pretty good game for being 2,700, but obviously 42 points from a tight end. That's the second time this year. TJ Hawkinson did it. And if you didn't have him, even though Ingram was 4%, maybe 5% owned, that amount, if you played in any kind of significant contest, pretty much covered your top tier of teams, So it is what it is, but it's a new week. Also, just real quick, some housekeeping. We're starting the Fantrax leagues are coming up. I've got my own little invite only 8-man league. So you know who you are. Still need, I think, 4 more of you to join the league. Then we can start Venmoing the money, and then we'll set a draft date and time. We still got a few more weeks, so but just keep in mind, all you have to do is click the link and go join the league. My other leagues that I posted on Rick Run Goods website are full, so thanks for everybody. Hope you guys that got in that league subscribe to my channel. That's what you should be doing. Just show a little bit of appreciation. It doesn't cost you a dime. So hook a brother up. They were 8 and 10 man leagues. I should have had 100 subs off of that. So step your game up, people. All right, let's dig into this week. We're going to take a look at the games and see what we got going on. One more thing real quick. I am going to have later on this week the matchups video again. It was such a good success. I'm going to do it again. And for the 3-game slate, Saturday, I'll do a matchups video as well. So let's get her started. All right. Some of these games I'm going to plow through pretty quick. Like this first one is the Pittsburgh, Carolina. Obviously, Carolina, big win last week. Darnold was efficient, but he's not in play for me. He doesn't throw enough. If he doesn't sneak that rushing touchdown, he's out. It's a legit split backfield almost now because Foreman was everybody's pick last week. He busted, so to speak, and Chuba Hubbard got her done. DJ Moore got hurt. That was a bust. Pickett got concussed in the Pittsburgh game. He's a bust. Trubisky's still back. Trubisky might not be awful because at least, Pittsburgh's like DGAF mode, and they'll be just throwing all day to the 2 big guys, Deontay Johnson and Pickens. So we'll be looking at that. But you never know. Pickett, Kenny might clear concussion, so he might be right back in there. Dude's not very accurate throwing the ball down the field. I watched a bit of him. He's better on the short, intermediate type routes. But that's really all this game. I don't really have much. Najee is barely a play for me at 5.7, even though he is getting the work. Their offensive line is so bad. So, that's enough out of that game. We got too many other good games like this one here. Philly at Chicago. Chicago only 20-point implied total. Philly's 28. That's kind of wild to me. Now, obviously, it is chilly and windy in Chicago this time of year. So we'll monitor the weather. That's any outdoor game that's on the East Coast or Northeast. We need to keep an eye on that weather. Obviously, Jalen Hurts was one of my guys last week. The only problem with this last week, he was awesome. Play him naked and roll out. That would have been cool. And, you know, uh, the wide receivers would have gotten there if the game hadn't got so out of hand so early. They both got their touchdown. They both got good amount of catches. And then they just turned it over to Miles Sanders, and who is probably going to be chalky this week. 6,500, still a fair price. He's going to get some work in this game. And obviously the Bears, you know, between him and Hurts, they're going to have 200 yards rushing likely. So I'd put the over under at 200, honest to God, for reals. So anyway, Monty, he's just not, the upside just ain't there. I don't think. Now Fields, you could play him naked. I think the week off did the shoulder some good. He still ran for 71 yards and a touchdown in that game. So 254. He just didn't get any passing touchdowns. So you know, if they're 8-point dogs, he's going to be chasing. I think Fields might be the way to go because wide receiver wise, I do believe Mooney's still on IR, obviously, and then you got ESB, you know, the St. Brown brother, and then you got Devon or Claypool, who's a little bit more involved in the offense. So other than that, Pettis, it's a long shot. So it would be Claypool, Brown, both very cheap. Then you got Komet at 4K. So all kinds of stackable pieces there. And then run backs with the two wideouts or Sanders. So that's a pretty reasonable stackable game. So just first look wise, that's target game number one, obviously. Target game, I mean, not number one as in, you know, overall number one, because we'll get to that, but that is one of probably three or four. It's definitely high up on the list. KC in Houston, I guess we're getting around. I was poo-pooing, but Mahomes just, you know, even though he threw 3 interceptions and he did only get to 25, he was just chucking it. I mean, 350 and 3, he just missed some rushing yards was all to get him to 30. So in the 3 picks, if he doesn't throw 3 picks and runs for 30, 40 yards, he's over 30. So he's a solid play. I'd just go naked with him though. And wide receiver wise, if Cooks, if all these guys are out again, we'll check value. Like I'll cover that in a matchups video. Chris Moore had the big week, and I missed it. I missed that. I was a little higher on Dorsett on full disclosure. So, but that game didn't go quite as advertised, and I'll get to that in a minute. Tight ends. If you want to pay $7,800 for Kelsey, he has had 3 ho-hum games, and they still raised him $200. So that's kind of interesting. Normally, when these guys have these middling games like this, I guess because of the targets being there, their algorithms ran him up a little bit, and the matchup against Houston. But it's not like Houston. I mean, Schultz did have a good game against them. So Kelsey, you know, if you want to toss him in the flex or something, I don't typically like paying that up. Akins was a bust, so I'm not playing him. That's about it for that game. You're playing Mahomes naked, or you're playing Kelsey as a one-off. McKinnon might be a thing, though. Actually, now let's revert back to that real quick. He might be starting to become a thing because now Denver Broncos defense is different. So he was he got the 56-yard if you saw it, grenade toss from Mahomes, which was ridiculous. So that's a fluke. You know, that's, you know, but he's still 35, you know, that's monster. And Pacheco's still in there too. So these two guys are reasonably priced. And both of them, I'd do McKinnon if he gets a higher snap count, maybe go him. But like I said, Juju showed some life. He threw it. I mean, I don't know. See, that's the thing. I don't think Mahomes is going to be throwing it 42 times. he's going to be more like 27 times, or like he did against the Rams. Well, he did throw 42 against the Rams, but I don't think they're going to be throwing as much against Houston. They may jump out early. But now let's get to this Dallas Jacksonville. Now I know Al Smizzle, and I respect the guy. He's great. I love his content. Al Zyphon. I don't want to mispronounce your name, brother. I'll just call you Al Smiz in the Smiz gang. Listener League's great. Rake free. So join up, give him some props. But he his first look lineup put Dak in there as the stack. And nah, I'm not not looking at that. I'm not saying it won't happen. You just play game theory and whatnot, and he'll probably be very low owned. So we're looking at that. But the one thing you can do, and the one thing Tennessee did last week, you can run on Jacksonville. So now you have, I think Pollard, this is the week, and you could pay up for Pollard. No way he's going to be as owned as he was last week. He got a $400 price hike, and he still got there. 7,100 is going to be a tall order. Sometimes that sticker shock of seeing that 6 turn to 7 on a guy who's getting 14 to 15 touches, that's a tall order to pay for. I mean, you could pay down for somebody who's going to get the same amount of work, but you never know. At the end, I'm not big on Dallas defense. I'd still run some Lawrence stacks. I don't mind that. They're playing at home. And obviously you got Jones and Kirk, and then you can chase Ingram if you want to. I don't know. I see that busting if he goes 25%. Dalton Schultz in play like Okonkwo last week. Schultz might be the pivot, 10 targets in a game that they were battling. And the reason why that was such a close game is because Dallas practically handed Houston 2 touchdowns. One muff punt left them short field on the 24-yard line. Second one was a Dak interception on the 27-yard line that was returned to the 27. So they had 2 short fields and then punched. They were props to them for being able to punch it in, but short fields like that, you're expected to punch it in. So that put them at, and then they had some other good drives, which they kicked field goals. But that's kind of the reason why the game was so close. Dallas playing down to their competition, obviously. So we're looking at that. And that's about it for this game. Moving on, Detroit, New Jersey, Jets, New York Jets in New Jersey. Interesting game. If Mike White is okay from the ribs, I might run back. I skipped him last week for good reason. He played his ass off, 268, 44 attempts. He's got the attempts, but the weather plus the Bills D plus on the road, that was not the spot for me. So smart move by me once in a while. But this week might be different. At home, Detroit. I don't know if I see a shootout because Detroit's had every game in a dome, and at home they've had very few outdoor games, and this game's going to be in some elements. December in New York, so we're looking at that. But you got run backs. Swift was a super disappointment. Swift and St. Brown cost me a lot of money last week, busting. I had a lineup that scored 185 points, and I had St. Brown and Swift in there with their middling totals. So that really, really hurt my feelings. But Zonovan Knight, like Al said in his video, props to him. Dude's, look at the attempts. He's going to get them again. And they're not going to price him up 5,300. Take that. That's your run. If you want to try a golf stack, I mean, people probably will. I'm going to take a week golf from that. See what I did there? So I'll take that week golf and maybe go play golf if the weather's nice. Anyway, Michael Carter's not getting that much love, so that's all right. But now you got Mike White. You throw Garrett Wilson back into the mix. Corey Davis is questionable. He left the game with an ankle. Oh, no, he got concussed. That's right. So he could be back in the mix. He could clear protocol. We'll keep an eye on that. You got Chark, who was in the mix, 94 yards. He's starting to show life. Jamison Williams, who that's ridiculous. One catch for 41 yards on a busted coverage, and they raised his price up again. Well, no, they actually dropped his price. My bad. Okay, so back down to 4,100. That's reasonable. He's always a threat to do that. He could beat him deep. But then the other guy is Conklin. So you got Conklin and Wilson and White. Very cheap stack. And then you can get a run back with St. Brown if you want, or Chark if you want. I'd probably lean Chark just to save the money. I think he'll be good in the spot, or even Reynolds. He got in the act last week. So keep that in mind. And the next game up, we're going to zip through this one. Atlanta and New Orleans might have an inclination to play Dalton at New Orleans. New quarterback, new shooter for Atlanta is the Ritter. Desmond Ritter. That sounds like some kind of soap opera actor, like he's on Young and the Restless or some shit. But Andy Dalton, the only thing that worries me is Taysom Hill, 4,800 quarterback. I mean, if you wanted to be like, if you had some kind of, like, say in the 50 cent, like 250,000 thing, let's toss him in there and see if he can do another 37.3 touchdown game or something like that. You never know. But I probably won't go Dalton. The two guys that I would be interested in is Alvin Kamara with no Ingram, and Olave and Rashid Shaheed. That guy, $3,200, is probably going to be very popular, I would imagine. I mean, he's paying off. I mean, 7-8 points, it doesn't kill you. I'd 3K, flat 3K if you gave me 8. That gives you a lot of wiggle room. And the dude's always a threat to get a touchdown. So if he gets one of these two totals and just gets in the box, you're set. So Olave, I do really like, though. He is not heavily targeted. That was a slog fest. 9 targets, 100 yards. He's only had 1 touchdown recently, so he's got regression coming positively. So yeah, Olave. If you want to look at Juwan Johnson, maybe Drake London, but I don't know if I'd do any. These might be one-offs. This is going to be Kamara, Olave, and Rashid to save salary, one-offs for me. So we're going to bounce on out of this game and roll on out. Arizona and Denver, we all know what happened last night. Kyler Murray, non-contact ACL tear. Also, Russ Wilson, I thought they said it was a hip injury, but I think he got knocked the fuck out. Let's see. Yep, concussion protocol. So he got ghosted, but he feels better. If he clears protocol, I mean, home game against Arizona, that might not be a bad idea. Denver's defense is going to be noise 2,700 because we're going to get Colt McCoy. But, don't sleep on Colt. He's a decent quarterback. He's going to get all the first team snaps this week, so look out for him. But you got Doug Judy coming back. He came through for me 3 touchdowns last week. I got a little bit of cash off of that one. And this dude, Dulcich, 8 targets. I mean, he ended up getting 42 yards. And if he gets another target share, and we know Arizona struggles against tight ends, so I might give him a shot. I kind of poo-pooed him on Twitter when he was struggling early in the game, and this was more after they were chasing points. I don't know how much they're going to be chasing this week. So, depending on ownership, we'll see. But I'm not very interested in this game, one-offs and whatnot. Another game I probably won't have super amount of interest in. Ramondre Stevenson got injured, ankle. He might be okay. I don't know. But everybody's Q tagging it. Jacobs is 8,100. That's too much for my blood. I'm not paying that. Adams, 9K. Somebody's getting stopped. We obviously know that. Bill Belichick. And Waller on IR. Foster Moreau might not be a bad idea. No defenses. Mac Jones, maybe. We'll see if Jacoby Myers comes back. That's a great one off 4,700. I like that. So that's all I got on that game. This is the game of the week for me. This is going to be rinse and repeat. And then the if statement. Christian Fulton, like I said, for Tennessee, if he's still out, if you say same injury situation as last week for Tennessee, Herbert, Mike Williams, that's where I'm starting. Boom. Williams. And then obviously you can run back Henry. You can do Okonkwo, or you can follow the same blueprint. Mike Williams is obviously a more expensive Zay Jones, a better wide receiver Zay Jones. This dude could have another monster. It sucks because shout out to my man Big Daddy Gator, who played him at captain, who went 6 for 116 in a tug. He had a nice little cash, but that just will increase his popularity in this game, which kind of sucks. But I'm going to eat that chalk all day. Now, the one thing you can do to get different is play Everett and hope he does anything close to what Ingram did last week. And he gets 6-8 targets, and it's not like he can't get down the field. He can get 19, 20 yards down the field. So if he gets 5 for 80 and 2 touchdowns, you're dancing. So keep an eye on that. Okonkwo again, maybe. I wouldn't mind running that back. It depends on what happens with Treylon Burks. If Treylon Burks is back, he clears protocol, which I feel pretty good that he will. 1 week off, that's precautionary. And you also got Palmer, Allen, and Deontay, or I always say Deontay, but it's DeAndre Carter. So this game's going to be just nice to stack. That's a stretch, Tannehill. He did throw 38 times for 254, 2 touchdowns. And the dude does sometimes call his own number at the goal line. So that's encouraging to see without Treylon Burks. If he comes back, they might be chasing. That might be sneaky. 5,300 Ryan Tannehill. Keep that in your lizard brain. All right. Last game up. This is going to be a good one, too. Cincinnati at Tampa. And we'll monitor T. Higgins with the hammy. Chase, obviously Burrow to Chase all day. I'm not 7,200 mixing. I don't know if I have much interest in mixing this week. The two, Fournette and White, both split pretty evenly, but they were both so involved in the pass game. But they were way behind early, so it was mad dump offs. They were getting blitzed, and Brady didn't have time to throw, so he was dumping it off a lot. So I'm not sure about that. So obviously Chase is always in play. I don't care who the defense is. I mean, he can get down on anybody. And if Brock Purdy can throw all over this Tampa Bay defense, you damn well sure Joe Burrow can. So there you go. Hunter Hurst or Hayden Hurst. Man, I'm getting these names wrong today. Cade Otton. That's about it, though. I mean, if I can't go there with Brady. They've been just lackluster. Mike Evans got a 68-yard touchdown called back. He has now dipped below Chris Godwin. Everybody loves Chris Godwin. He gets the targets. He's healthy. He's the man. He's been more consistent. So maybe it's time to pivot over to Mike Evans at 6,200 if you're stacking this game. Because if you add 7 plus 6, 13 to that, that's not a bad outing for $6,200. So I think that's going to wrap it up for old Billy Ho in the first look video. Thanks for watching. I appreciate you. If you like the video, hit the subscribe button, and PGA content coming out pretty soon. We have the Tournament of Champions. I'm already starting to dig in a little bit here and there. putting guys in rankings for the season-long league. So until this week's videos with the matchups on the 3-game and the 10-game main, peace out. See you soon. Thanks for watching.